Hey guys, Tibexi here. So today I would like to give you my first thoughts on my new Kinetic Blast build. First of all, I chose to level Kinetic Blast as my second build because of the absence of both of my carries. First of all, Chip had to go kind of perma-AFK this week because of holiday season kind of things, family, whatnot. And then I guess Havoc is like super occupied with race practice for our December 29th race, which I should also start doing. That being said, basically I had two options. I could either go Tornado Shot, Magic Find, or Kinetic Blast, Magic Find. And even though I tried to talk myself out of going KB for this time, I really enjoy the playstyle of Kinetic Blast, so I decided to roll a KB Wander anyhow. That being said, I've gotten a lot of questions about, how it feels, how you should level it, and whatnot. So basically, I've been getting a lot of questions about leveling and how it feels and whatnot. So first of all, I would like to point out that I leveled as a Wander, but I had a lot of leveling gear, which you can see right here. I used a Lycosidé shield, a Gold Rim as a helmet, Tabula for a 6-link, Onder's Clasp for the nice attack speed, a little bit of flat added damage. Wanderlust is pretty nice, movement speed, freeze immune. I went for a Kirui ward into a Kirui charge at 24. Used the Thief's Torment from level 30 on because it makes you really tanky, the life on hit's really nice. And I used a Darkness and Drone because dual sockets are pretty strong early on, and then I used like some random low flat added damage to wands or to attacks to scale my damage. Wand wise, I alked and go like a couple of wands, used some low essences, did some alteration spamming to get like, I think 4 wands. I think I had one for level 12, I had one for level 24, I had one for 33, one for 40, and one for 50, and then at 65 I swapped to a Piscadors. Important when you're crafting wands, you want to use either a carved wand, a engraved wand, or an imbued wand, but there's pretty much no reason just not to use carved wands throughout the game. Because yeah, if you like crafting them early on with essences, you can get like a low level wand as well. There is no upside in using any other wand. Why? Because this is the best combination of both crit chance and attack speed. It's 1.5 base attack speed with 7 crit chance, so it's basically the best base to craft on. So once you get that going, you can start leveling up. This is like an early game tree. You start out by taking damage, because damage is important early on. You puff through the mana because it gives you intelligence, which you will need to use your wands later on. Pick up some damage nodes in Primal Force, Socket, rush an intelligence node again because you need intelligence. Afterwards, so when you proceed a little bit more on, you take some piercing shots, because piercing shots is very good once you go KB. Phase Acro, 1 node, pretty good. Some life nodes, more life nodes, some crit chance, and another socket to scale your damage, and then you can do lab, which I did at level 32. It was very, very easy. I used a barrage instead of my Power Siphon or KB at that point to kill Izaro. It was really easy. I picked up Tailwind because movement speed is OP while leveling. Further on in leveling, we went for the transition to Witch because it's a lot of traveling. Picked up a little bit of damage, a little bit of life and mana, then went into MOM to make myself more tanky. This is also the point where you already have a Thief's Torment, so MOM is basically just permanently more mana, aka more life. It's like a 1k effective HP kind of thing later on in the game. At this point in your build, it's probably like more like 600, but it's pretty big. Like, it's really, really good, even for leveling. And then a little bit later on, you can use this as a tree. So here you fill out some damage, some life nodes. Piercing shots you already had. Also went point blank at that point because bosses were not dying anymore, so I needed point blank to scale my barrage a little bit more. Powerful Precision and Far Shot, like either works. If you take Far Shot, you need to take Piercing Shots. If you take Powerful Precision, you don't really need those. You can use those somewhere else. But overall, I think the leveling was kind of smooth. I went with Power Siphon from level 12 on. I linked Added Lightning, Added Cold, greater or like less multiple projectiles and Onslaught. Swapped in GMP at 38, obviously. I instantly went KB at 28. I used 2 Heralds from level 16 on, both Herald of Ice and Herald of Thunder, and then I dropped the Herald of Thunder at level, whatever level I got Mind Over Matter, because I wanted more unreserved mana to get more life. And honestly, it felt really, really good from level 12 onwards until, let's say, Act 8-ish, where I felt like my damage could have been better. Like Wander's not the best thing to level with, but it's definitely doable. It's like not the worst. I would also suggest, like, once you get like some sockets going, I would link my Herald device to Curse Haunted Assassin's Mark Ice Bite, because it gives you Frenzy and Power Charges to scale your damage a little bit better. And I mean, I still use that as of now, like endgame mapping. So yeah, I felt fine until Act 8. At that point, it was kind of getting harder, and I would recommend you level up in Blood Aquatics if you want to do a Wander for leveling to like level 70, so you can get some actual gear on. You can use the Piscadors, you can get some better jewels and stuff like that. So the Act 9 and 10 goes a little bit more smoothly. Because my Act 10 and Act 9 were pretty rough. So overall, I'd say leveling as a Wander, it's doable, it's not the best, but if you want to save on regrets and stuff like that, or you just enjoy KB like I do and you want to play it as a leveling thing, it is doable. Alright, so then basically, from level, let's say 70 on, when I completed the zones, I farmed some Blood Aqueduct. I also did my Merciless Lab, where I picked up Far Shot or Piercing Shots or like Powerful Precision, whichever one you didn't take yet, you should take. And then I started mapping. It's important to note though that at level 70, I swapped into all my MF gear already. So basically, Piscadors, I'm using a random life attack speed shield. I'll explain this later on. I went for a Light Poacher with KB enchant. It's pretty cheap. Used some decent jewels at that point. Not the most insane ones, but they're definitely not bad. Still use a Tabula at that point though. Salimas, Gold Worms. You still use Can Recharge at that point. Not a Quantity Necklace. Still use a Deep Torment at that point. Swapped on a Viscose Leash. Got a Dying Sun. Got my flask set up done. It's also important to note this is a really strong flask. The order suffix is pretty good. The crit chance is kind of insane. And then don't mind the Watcher's Eye. I got that a lot later. And honestly, it felt good as long as I didn't find a boss. Because bosses are like just, it's kind of annoying in KB. It's important to note that the goal of this build is to farm tier 16s, where we will be skipping the boss, so I don't need the boss damage. If you want to kill bosses, I would not recommend playing KB. Unless you're solo, then maybe you can make it work on a 4-link, and you can 6-link your Mirage, and then you hopefully do enough damage to kill the bosses. But in general, it's just safer to go Tornado Shot, I feel like. The thing is though, Tornado Shot is a lot more expensive. To give you an example, if you want the damage from a Light Poacher for the 2 sockets, if you want a Tornado Shot enchant, right now it's like 35 Exiles, this one was like 2 Exiles. So that's a pretty big difference. Also, I think jewels for bows are more expensive than jewels for wands. So yeah, you're gonna need a lot more budget if you want to do Tornado Shot. That being said though, I feel like KB is a lot of fun still. It's not amazing for bosses, not to say it's kind of horrendous for bosses. I expected it to be a little bit better, however, I'm only level 80, and I have a lot more damage to pick up. So maybe I can make it work. I'll probably be leveling this character up in pure Breachstones later tonight. I'm hoping to get to 95 in Breachstones, where I think maybe I can scale the damage high enough to make it do whatever I want it to do. However, if I can't, I will probably have to swap into Tornado Shot, even though I liked playing KB, and yeah, you guys like chat also talked me into KB. I guess it's more exciting to watch something not everyone plays, but yeah, if it doesn't work, I kind of have to do something like to make it work. I also chose to use a Grease Embrace because I like the chest in general. I think usually I feel like it's not that big of a downside having 20% reduced movement speed. However, since I think Headhunter is kind of bad this league because there's no Beyond Umzana, it kind of makes it much slower because you're used to playing with Headhunter and getting like a fast buff somehow, which you now don't have, so you're actually pretty slow. But I guess for doing like a lot of boxes and arsenals, it'll be fine. And I'm not too worried about that. The only thing I'm worried about is like open area boxes and open area mobs. I don't know if I'll be able to kill them 6-man HP. But we'll have to figure that out as we go on. So yeah, for now I just hope I can scale the damage high enough when I hit 95. And then if it works, we'll have a lot cheaper build, which I think is more fun to play, but of course that's personal preference. Gear-wise, I didn't do anything too crazy. I have a pretty nice Piscators though, which we corrupted ourselves. We have the 16% increased critical strike chance, which is really big on a decently rolled Piscadors, because usually that's the issue, right? You can buy one, but then the rolls are kind of meh. These rolls are pretty good. So the shield, the options are Lycosidae, but with 89 hit chance, and a support who's running a banner probably. I don't think I really need the Lycosidae. It's pretty good though, damage-wise. But I'm also only like a nice, you know, if I don't do the Herald of Thunder, which I think I still have. So I'm like a nice, 3.7k life build, which is gonna go farm tier 16s. Now if I put my life at 95 or my level at 95, I'll be at like, you know, 4 point something, which still isn't amazing. And like the shield gives me 200 life, which I think is pretty big. And I don't think like either Eshe's Mirror, because Eshe's Mirror is a clear speed item and we're not gonna go that fast, or Lycosidae, which gives me a decent amount of hit chance. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a good item, but I feel like I need it alive, and I feel like I just have to make it work without either of those options. I went for Light Poacher. Honestly, I didn't give this much thought, but I was like, hey, if I need damage, 2 sockets are pretty big. And I checked the prices on it, and a KB Enchant Light Poacher was 2 Exile. So I just picked it up and I went with it. My jewels are very, very, very mediocre, aside from my Watcher's Eye, but they're like nothing special. I paid 10 KOs per jewel, which is nothing crazy. I have a 6-link Greets, which is just a Greets. It doesn't do anything damage-wise. It gives me quantity gloves, quantity helm, boots. Then I have a pretty nice amulet. So this amulet used to have 8% movement speed, and we used the bestiary recipe to like remove a prefix, craft a suffix. So we crafted 8% fire rate, which is kind of unlucky, and we removed the movement speed. Ideally, I wanted to remove the rarity or the fizz damage, because movement speed is nice. But I'm pretty happy with the amulet overall. It's like 10 quality, 20 rarity, it has some resist, which are pretty hard to fill out, and a 51 life roll, which is what I really wanted. Like, I wanted the necklace with life because of earlier mention, I don't have that much life. I'm using 2 Ventors, one is like 9, one is 10% quantity. They were kind of cheap. I think they were like 4x combined, but I'm not entirely sure. I think it was 4x combined. Bisco's Leash, because as I said, I don't think a Headhunter's that big this league. Unless you're using like a special combination with an amulet and a belt, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. But I don't want to do that, because then I'm dropping 15 quantity for the Headhunter, which I don't want to do. Because I'm fine going slow, like we're all about the money making on this build. I'm using a Dying Sun because, I mean, it's KB, it gets scaled by both the area and the projectiles, it's pretty good. Using an Alchemist Quicksilver Adrenaline to kind of counteract the like no movement speed build. I'm using an Experiment's Jade of Warding, which I might be replacing with an Aziri's Promise if I can get a Corrupted Jewel that fixes my staunching. Chemist Silver of Staunching again for the movement speed. And then I'm using a Chemist Diamond of the Order. So the Order is a new Betrayal suffix, which gives you 63% increased critical strike chance during a Flask effect. And that's not bad. Like, it's decent. Since you're like not the highest crit chance build in the world, like it's a little bit more crit chance, and you can afford like having the suffix, right? Because you have like Adrenaline, Warding, Staunching, and this build is not made to play solo, so I will have my support, or I was initially going to have my support open all boxes, so I don't need a Heat Flask. So I picked up this Watcher's Eye, which I managed to find for 2 Exalted Orbs. I picked it up instantly because I thought it was really, really nice. It has 47 crit multi while affected by anger. It has 50% increased lightning damage while affected by wrath. So this jewel alone gives me like 10% more damage than like an average Searching Eye. And then as a third stat, it also has immunity to freeze while affected by Purity of Ice. Since I have the support, he'll be running all 3 of these auras, so it's also like really nice because it's immune to freeze. So yeah, as I said, I paid 2 exalts for this. I don't think it's necessary if you're a solo player, but I was looking for damage. And I think I found damage here. So yeah, it's really, really nice as a jewel in itself. I think a Watcher's Eye could, like, there's a lot of nice things, right? You can do phasing while haste with affected by haste. You can do any Wrath mod, which will be fine, and besides the Fist to Lightning, which obviously doesn't do anything. Multi-anger is really good. There's a couple of other ones that, like, you know, can be decent. But in general, I think if you're solo, if you're like 2-player, 3-player kind of stuff, you can get by just using a Searching Eye. You know, the damage is fine. So that being said, I really hope I can make the build work in D16s. I'm not too sure yet, but yeah, we'll be leveling up later in Breachstones, and I'll try to find out if it's gonna be good or not, and then I'll get back to you guys and like give you more feedback. Like some general things I would like to talk about as to why like Wander or not Wander. I am really missing Blink Arrow, like not being a bow character. Like Blink Arrow is really good. I do think if you have a Headhunter with like the amulet that like gives you buff duration, I do think Tornado Shot is better because you'll have better like rare killing speed, which means you'll probably be stacking more Headhunter buffs and it'll scale up better. So the bossing's not good. It is significantly cheaper, so there's like a lot of up and down sides on it. But yeah, if you feel like the damage is sufficient, if you're like a solo player and you maybe drop one quantity item, get a nice Tomb Fist going for some more DPS or whatever, KB still is pretty fun. Like I know I'm biased because I really like this skill in general, but I think it's a feels good skill regardless. The last thing I'd like to talk about is your Uber Lab. So the standard thing to do is go for endless munitions. However, I'm trying out Rupture right now and I'm liking it a lot. It gives you a decent chunk of damage. It gives you sustain, which is honestly better than you give it credit for. Like if there's like 2 or 3 mobs to hit, which I usually have since I skip bosses, it's like 90 life per hit times like 3. It's like, you know, it's like a decent 300 life a second. Pretty much. So it's decent, but the options are like whatever, right? You can go either way and none of them are bad. But I feel like I don't need the extra projectile, I don't need the accuracy. It's probably the go-to, but for what I'm doing, I think Rupture does the trick just fine. If you're like a fast mapper and you only go fast, you don't need the damage, you don't need X or Y, then sure, go into munitions, feel free to do that. I just tried Rupture and I think it's pretty good. I will most likely swap into Endless Munitions at some point just to try it out, but for now I'll stick to Rupture and see how I feel about it. So that being said, after this recording of the video, I will probably go and do like 40 pure Breachstones to level it up to like 95, from like 80 to 95, hoping that I can pick up all my damage nodes, be a little bit more tanky, and then I'm going to try and see if I can carry 6-man tier 16s. And if that works, I'll be really happy. If it doesn't work, then I will probably have to go to Tornado Shot. So the last thing I need to show you guys is a final tree, which is a 92 tree, I think, 95, sorry. So 95 tree, basically it's almost what I have. You pick up some damage left and right. The one thing I will be investing into is these travel nodes to get here, because a natural instinct in Scion is borderline broken. It is pretty insane what you get from it. It's like you get like, how much is it? 12? It's like actually 13 if my math's correct. Like 13 attack speed, 45 multiplier, life, 14% life. It's like also movement speed, 9% MS. That's pretty good for one jewel, you know? So yeah, I'll be going down once I get some levels, pick up an Unnatural Instinct, put it in. It's like a lot of damage as well. If you can see it, I don't think you can though. It's like it's too far up. Maybe I can see it here and show you guys here. No, I actually can't. Feels bad. But it's let's see. You can check. So it's 81 width and it's like 68 without. So it's like, you know, it's a decent chunk of DPS. Overall, pretty solid item. It's also pretty expensive, like it's 9x or something right now, but I think it's worth it. So yeah, this is the final tree. It's like phase aggro. It has 4.7k life, and it should be doing decent damage. Has 1 flask charge node and alchemist, so your final flasks as well. Runs a decent chunk of jewels, and yeah, I hope it's gonna work out all right. But I'll definitely be getting back to you guys with like a more thorough review of how it felt after I leveled up, and like a bit of arsenal footage left and right, hopefully showcasing how KB can still work. Or you know, maybe it's not a KB video and we're Tornado Shot at that point, but let's hope not, because like I really wanted to play KB and I really hope I can make it work. That being said, yeah, I feel like Tornado Shot's gonna be better by a mileage. If you want to play the best build, you should probably play TS. But I would also like to add to that I've recalled myself saying this on like multiple occasions, like 2 leagues ago. I swapped back and forth between KB and Tornado Shot like a couple of times that league. So I think like solo, I think both are fine. I think eventually I'll have to end up going TS, but I'm gonna try really hard to make KB work because I have to carry a group. I do think the Walnut is a little bit more tankier because you have to go like through which area regardless to pick up like Fusilate, like the wand nodes, like, you know, and then MOM is like pretty close, right? So that being said, I think going MOM is pretty big. You don't usually do that on a Tornado Shot guy. So yeah, it's a little bit more tanky, but I do think the skill in itself is a little bit worse than Tornado Shot. But yeah, we'll see what happens after we level up, and I'll get back to you with a more final thing. So for now, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. If there's any questions, you can always hit me up in Discord, like join our Discord, or you can come and check out the stream and see how it plays at twitch.tv/tbxc. So thank you for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to hit the subscribe button, like underneath the video, leave a comment, leave a like, do whatever. Thank you, and see you next time.